I got next. Let me, mm-hmm, let me, mm-hmm, let me, mm-hmm, let me. Ooh yeah. All right, all right, all right. We're gonna get right into this one because we're almost about a minute in. Hold on. All right, once again, welcome to Starlight Med Channel. We're gonna try to make this one simple, sweet, short, and thorough. But you know, we're talking about as far as the title goes. You can see by the title, we're gonna talk about energetic currency and money, right? Understanding how your energetic currency or the amount of currency the amount of energy you have in your body, is equatable to how much physical currency you can manifest in this world in this world right now. Understanding that in the physical realm right now, currency or money or whatever, aka currency, money, that's an energy. You feel me? Energy, inner chi. That is the shape and form it takes. And down here is physical money. But in the spirit realm, um, as above, so below to an extent. But in the spirit realm, um, the money and we talk about physical, like actual currency plays out there is energy. Energy is the currency there. Now there is a physical shape to that energy. It's not just how we look at it now. We only perceive energy the way we perceive it. But up there, it has a look. It's a thing. It's a tangible thing. But you gotta understand, it's just energy. That's how they, you know what I'm saying. And that energy could take different shapes and forms. Just like it's a whole bunch of different energies now. You got all kind of energies. You see what I'm saying, from different spectrums. And in that realm, it's more of it. But y'all understand too. On a quick disclaimer: when they say as above, so below, mind you, they're only talking about the spirit realm or the astral realm, the other side, the spirit realm that's in this space. By the way, because this space that we physical space we in got birth from a overall space or from a spiritual space. That space in this spiritual realm, that's just a particular space. That's not all spaces, by the way. I just want to let y'all know that because a lot of they got y'all like lost in the loop. So I don't think y'all ever get out of y'all issues. I know I be like making jokes and this and that, and no. You'll never get out of your issues. When they be since Bobby Hemmett days, since subconscious community, all that. When they be saying stuff like, "Oh, we only 1%," like, "Are we less than 1%?" It's always been like that. Y'all never gonna come together and awaken as a world. One, it's partially not fully y'all fault. Two, y'all are a bunch of dumbasses to an extent. No offense. You don't like the video, just like it. Y'all are a bunch of dumbasses. You are lost. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. It's always been like that. So nothing is new. Nothing has changed. No offense. You either gonna get better or do better. Now check me out. Let's get to the point. Let's get to the point. So energetic currency and money. Building, spending, having to save means you're broke, right? These are the three things I'm gonna talk about. So, like I said, an overall understanding. The amount of money, the amount of physical money that you can manifest in this realm of reality is individually is predicated upon how much physical energy you have in your body. This is why the money is a currency. It's a currency. A currency is a currency. It's dealing with fluids, aka when you look at all the different energies, it's your blood flow, your sexual energy. That's a currency. All these deal with fluids. Even when we talk about imagination, that's a currency. The more imagination you got, this is why artists make some of the most money. Now you got bummy artists like that they need their own energy rectified. But I'm just saying in general, if you take a top artist, people that paint, people that draw, people that get paid for these things at a good wage, they get money. They do make a nice money. You can make a nice living if you're a fortified artist. And then singers, rappers, music producers, all that stuff, dancers, all that stuff is a form of art. These things produce a lot because there's a strong energy and currency. Remember, your sexual energy, your spiritual energy, and your sexual energy, your spiritual energy, and your creative energy are all one and the same, and to an extent, different levels of these things. Now, understanding that, so the amount of physical money that you can manifest in this reality is let me slow down. The amount of physical money that you can manifest in this reality is predicated upon how much physical energy you have, right? The amount of physical money you can have and manifest individually is predicated upon how much physical energy you have in your body, right? Individually. Now you may be saying, wait, but I know a bunch of Donald Trumps. I know a bunch of big slurping, Mountain Dew, Kool-Aid, breath having, big pot belly, barbecue pork chop eating heifers that's out there, and they got this and that and the third. They got money, but it's a difference between you being put in a situation, and there's different forms of currency, but there's a difference between you being put in a situation where you're getting help from the external world. 9 times out of 10, these people are being put in these positions. That's different when you got, aka either spiritually or physically, you getting help. A lot of people down here are born into certain families where they don't have to work as hard. A lot of people are born in certain families where they was given the one to. You see what I'm saying? So there's a sense of spiritual currency to that in this realm of reality. but that doesn't have to deal with, that doesn't necessarily deal with energy necessarily. So if you was to take a lot of these people, if you was to strip all that from them, I'm telling you, not everybody, but a lot of people, if you was to strip all that external help, all that family help, all that getting help from the external world, all that support, all those friends and people that helped you out, if a lot of people, if you was to strip that away from them, they wouldn't be able to get as far on their own. I ain't gonna say you don't be jack ish, although a lot of you would. You wouldn't be able to get that on your own the same way, because a lot of people are, you don't have to understand, are being helped in the situation that they're in. That's all I'm trying to say. That don't mean every single person in the world and it works for every. I'm not doing the black and white scenario. I understand that, but I am saying for the average person, even more so than the average, most people that are in those situations and they don't have a strong energetic physical currency within themselves, aka they don't have a strong sense of health, they don't have good blood flows, they don't have a lot of sexual energy, they don't have a lot of creative energy, and they just literally does. A lot of these people are born in these situations. A lot of these politicians are born in these situations. A lot of ish you can't be unless you got a certain social security number. They don't got social. I ain't gonna get too deep with that because then they might really try to get on me. But a lot of your social security is there for a reason. There's a reason why you get a social security. It ain't just because it seems like it's a convenience. They tell us that, but it's a reason to why they do that. You see what I'm saying? There's a reason why you have a social security and track who's here and the spirits being born in this realm of reality and all that. But that's deep. I'm not even going that far yet. I could say that for another video. But these are different situations. Like I said, again, when you're born in a situation where your family helping you, or you're born in a location where you get a lot of external help, when you're in a situation where you got a lot of help from friends and family, when you get a lot of external help from other people, or people putting you in situations, that's different. That's different when you're being selected, or a situation like that is different. But as far as the individual money, the individual physical currency, aka money in its own reality, that you can generate yourself and or manifest, is predicated upon the amount of physical energy that you have within your body. It is predicated upon the amount of physical current that you have in your body, physical energy you have in your body. Like again, that's why money is a currency, a currency. And then you have your energy. Energy is your inner chi. All these things are life force. Your life flows. That's why I bet. And there's many different energy. But to be honest, there's really three main energy vortexes in your body. Like it's seven chakras, don't get me wrong. And it's really more chakras than that. They only give importance to the seven chakras because that's another video. I get deeper into that. But there's really three main ones, and they all sum together. And that's what in China, like in the Taoist, they say the first one is like what you say, the root or the sacral. That's the lower dantian. That control the whole, all those lower chakras down there. Like when they be saying root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat. There's one big one in these three main ones controlling those other areas. So for instance, in the root, instead of trying to separate the root from the gut and the sacral, the lower dantian rules all that in general, and that's your sexual energy. This is why the more sexual energy you have, the more your confidence kind of boosts. The more sexual energy you have, the more your creativity kind of boosts. You see what I'm saying? That rule all that down there, period. And that deal with, I'm gonna get into that later. The second one is the heart space. This deals with your emotions and feelings, and also I'm gonna get into what that produced too. That rule all that. That rule your heart chakra, and that rule a little bit of your gut too. But that rule your heart chakra, and that rule a little bit of your lower throat and your upper heart space and shit like that, because that's like the bridge. And then the last one is your head chakra, or your higher chakras. Like whether you want to say crown or third eye, somewhere up in there, six or seven, either one. That whole head chakra rule all that energy, all the way from the throat, the Mercury, thinking and analyzing, all the way from the deeper intuitions, dream world, imagination, astral projection, all the way to the higher ones, your overall levels of consciousness. All that, it rule all that. So these are the three main ones. And these produce fluids, right? The most densest fluid that is the lower chakra. The lower chakra is the most densest fluid. This is the root chakra. It's not this isn't good or bad. All these are needed, 100%. But the root chakra, the lower dantian, that produces sperm fluids, fertility fluids like sperm fluids, egg cells, stuff like that, seminal fluids, females fluids. There's white fluids that we produce. They produce those, and those are the thickest of these three substances. They produce that one. The heart chakra, that produces bloods, plasmas too, but blood that produces blood. Blood is very strong and powerful. You need blood to live to an extent. That's life force energy, vital life force energy. The heart chakra produces blood. The higher chakra, it produces, you heard this before, cerebral fluid. When they talk about that thing, I don't know if you're into anything in particular, but when they talk about sexual transmutation or understanding energies, they know your higher chakras that produces cerebral fluid. So that's why you don't even know our blood flows and these minerals and stuff. We actually produce these things within. This is why they say the more you understand your own energy, the less you need from the external world. They're not saying you don't need vitamins, you don't need this and that and third, but it's the reason why certain people naturally don't lack certain things as much as other people. We produce all these fluids within ourselves just by exercising, just by having a healthy higher chakra, aka practicing some sense of imagination, or having that chakra spinning to an extent, and harnessing your sexual energy instant. We ain't saying you got to go on no have a semen retention forever, but having some type of either discipline or moderation with your sexual energies and be building these sexual energies, you'll actually won't even you won't even lack certain minerals because your our bodies actually produce all these things. It don't get into either you have certain habits or you have weakened chakras in some shape or form that it play out as you not having as much of these things and you lack in so many words. You see what I'm saying? But those are the main three: your sexual fluids, your sperm and egg cells, your blood flow, your blood, and your cerebral fluid. You see what I'm saying? Minerals come out of that too. And all these are like the currents. You see what I'm saying? These are like currents attached to fluid. But the more you have these in you, the more stronger your aura be, the more stronger your energetic currency is, the more individual money you'll be able to manifest or produce or generate in some reality. Now that's why I say individually, the more money you individually be able to produce, the more energetic currency physically you have. Because you won't need the external world so much for somebody to put that in your lap. You see what I'm saying? Or you won't be predicated. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Of the people helping you, and that's a plus and boost, especially if you got both. But you won't need them. You don't need somebody to be putting stuff on your lap. You won't need a handout. You'll have the know-how within yourself, and things are naturally what you touch a lot of time generate a sense of currency, in some shape or form, some way, somehow. I'm telling you. You'll be more dependent because in order to be your own source in this realm of reality in this world right here, you need a sense of energy because energy is the densest form. So you need energy down here. It don't matter how consciously spiritual you are, even though the spirit is more powerful. That's like when you die and go into that world. But as far as long as you still here, you do need a sense of physical energy and currency in order to kind of manifest things around. Now you can do rituals and stuff like that, but as far as having things on autopilot and just your energy alone manifesting these things, you're gonna need a sense of actual physical energy within yourself. You know what I'm saying? And working, you'll be able to work a little bit less. Or how do I say it? No, I ain't gonna say that. You can work hard, but you won't need to put in as much effort as somebody else may have to. The more energy, physical energy, or currency you have. So that pretty much is it, though. You see what I'm saying? Now I will get into the processes of understanding this real quick, right? Understanding now the amount of physical energy you have is equated to the amount of physical money you have in this reality or you can generate in some type of form. Understand that it's just the same thing like with physical money now. You want to build you want to build your physical energy, right? Just like you want to build your money. Sometimes you're going to spend your physical energy just like you spend money. And then understanding that if you have to save means you broke. And I know a lot of people not gonna like this. I mean this with physical money and your physical energy. And this is important. Let me break this down first because I'm gonna get this one out of the way. What I say having to save means you're broke. A lot of people gonna fight me and say, "Wait, what do you mean? Saving is smart." Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're a person and you're always predicated upon having to save just to get by, or having to save just to feel like you have, or having to save just to have and feel like you got enough, in some shape or form, you're broke, because you should be able to be in a situation. A person that really got it is going to be in a situation where I'm not saying you can spend everything you got and that's just going to be all right, but you should be able to spend and it shouldn't hurt you. No matter whether you got to bounce back or whatever, you should be able to spend, and you should still be able to afford and have a lot left over. If you're in a situation where you can't even spend certain things, I ain't saying no $1 million and like that, but if you can't even spend a little bit, just on a little thing. A little bit is different to everybody. You got it in your own range. Don't take what I'm saying and over exaggerate it. I'm not saying if you make $40,000 that you need to be able to go out and buy a $2 million car, because that don't make sense. I'm talking about relative to your situation. Let's not be dumb, right? No offense. I'm just saying. Just strictly saying, and according to your situation and what your life look like and what you got going on in your bank account. If you in a situation where you can't do the little things, you see what I'm saying? A little shopping from here to here, a little bit of leisure. You may not have the best car, but just something, a little bit be able to travel, even if it's not all the time. If you can't do a little bit without that putting a big dent in your pocket and you have to save the majority of everything you got, that's a good way to put it. If you got to save the majority of everything you got just to get by or just to feel like you have something, that's broke. And that's the same thing with your energy. That's like I said, like even when you talk about like your sexual energy, right? They say like, okay, like when you bust off, right? Like you have an ejaculation, because this is more so for men, because women they don't lose as much energy like that. But with men, like say you're men, you jog off or whatever like that, right? You know you're gonna lose a lot of energy, right? That's gonna affect your physical energy. So therefore, after shortly but surely, it's gonna affect your physical money in some shape or form if you keep it up and you don't have a good way of replenishing what you just lost. And that gets into what I was just saying before. You can spend, but you might have to build back. So it's like people like when little baby say, okay, I got all this money, I could spend 4 million stuff like that, but one is not gonna put a dent in my pocket because I still got a lot of money anyway, and then two, I know how to get that right back. You see what I'm saying? Because there's two components to it. You could be in a situation where you busting up one day, you losing all your sexual energy, you're giving your physical currents, your physical energy to external things, you're draining yourself, you're being drained from others, but the more currency you got when you energetically rich, when you physically energetically rich, you'd be in a situation where a person can't take from you like that. A person, even if a person think they take a large sum of your energy in such a form, whether it's your sexual energy, whether it's your creative energy, whether it's something dealing with one of your cheese, it won't put a dent in your pocket like that. Just like with physical money, it won't put a dent in your pocket like that because you already have so much money in currency that don't stop it. So that's what I mean before. You should be able to spend. You should be able to have fun and do certain things, and it shouldn't put that big of a dent in your pocket. Because if it's putting that big of a dent in your pocket, you really ain't got it like that. Is all I'm trying to say. I'm not even gonna say that rock bottom, but to some extent you don't got it like that. That's all I'm saying. Because if you really got it like that, you'll be in a situation where you can expend your physical energy in some shape or form, and it don't drain you out. You see what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to save everything. You should actually be able to spend a little bit more, and that's still not draining you. That is true to me. That is like true having it. Now I'm not saying be dumb and blow all your money, but to me that's truly having it. Because if you in a situation where you got all this money, you got all these rackets, right? And you can go spend and shop here and there, and you consistently do that, not overdoing it, but you can enjoy yourself on a percentage level more so than not, and that's not putting the drain in your pocket to the point where you're like, oh, I gotta stop now. Oh, I gotta build this back up. You still got something. You're gonna build it anyway because you still working. You gotta do what you gotta do. But it's not putting a dent in your pocket to the point where you can't do those things anymore. That's like actually having money. But when you got people out here like, nah, I gotta save every penny. People from the hood, people from poor rural areas. I gotta save every penny. I gotta do oh no, that's $5. That's too much. You ain't really got it like that. You not rich. You don't not rich, but you don't got money like that. You don't really got it like that. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You don't really got it like that because you got to go through those processes of doing all that. Instead of you should be able to I hate to say it, you should be able to give off your energetic energy, and it shouldn't drain you like that. Like I said, you know what I'm saying. So that's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying. Having to save too much means you're broke. Having to save too much means you're broke because you should be able to. Now, if it's a choice, it's different. That's what people don't get. The choice is different because oh, if I save this, I have more in the long run, or I'll be in a situation where that can stack. That is true. But if you're in a situation where you have to save just to get by, or just to feel like you have or can do the little things in life, that is a form of you being broke in such a form, and that just is what it is. Now, moving on, right? Like I broke down spending. I broke down spending, either somebody draining you your physical energy, or you spending your physical energy. Like I said, through like sexuality is a big one. If you overly busting off and you not putting what you lost back into that bucket, aka you busting off and all this. This is where people who be in the corn. I ain't gonna say the real world because this is for kids, but people that be in the like corn, adult film, stuff like that. A lot of times they get by on this better because even though they're expending a lot of their sexual energies, which is they root chakra, one of their chi wheels, one of their physical energies, even though they're expending a lot of it, a lot of times they're replacing, aka what does that say? Building. It's just like money, physical money. You spending a lot, but you making what you lost. Like little baby say, I lost 4 million, but I can get that back. So they're expending themselves. They are expending themselves a lot, but from a physical energetic level, they a lot of times have to live a certain type of lifestyle anyway, just because they into adult film. Like for instance, if you me and you in the corn industry, a lot of times they take a lot of vitamins. They already taking a lot of vitamins. They already got certain supplements. They already know certain super herbs. And to be honest with you, this stuff we all need to be doing anyway. I'm not saying you need to be overly sexualized, but I'm saying as far as the energy part. This stuff we supposed to be doing anyway, as far as multivitamins and vitamins and herbs and certain supplements, because we already live in a world right now where the nutrients are more stripped from the earth anyway, and you got GMO stuff and this and that, and it's already, even the way the atmosphere is harder to get what we used to be able to get. So you should be on this path anyway, just for your overall health, whatever you want to direct that in. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, but like I said, since they lose a lot of their energy, they able to put it back. That's like you spending this money, but you make just what you lost. And so it's not gonna put a dent into their pocket like that. They're not gonna be drained like the average man who just sit at home all day on the computer. You know, I hate to say it, but like jacking off, overly expending your sexual energy, and then you telling me after that you're not even gonna at least put that back into your body. At least be a person. You may be lost into your habit. You may drain a lot, but at least you trying to build back. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to work out. That's you building good blood cells, building good blood flow, building your energy, so that you can have more energy down there anyway, as well as the rest of your body. You know, you trying to take supplements, you trying to take vitamins, you trying to take minerals, you trying to take certain herb packs and get yourself right, and you trying to get yourself nutritionalized and feed back in what you just put out. But if you're not even doing that, then your energetic currency are effed up, and that's why a lot of people that be like that in those situations, especially for guys, do be broke or be in a situation where they under their mom roof, or they don't have the needs that they don't, because they don't understand it's all energetic. I'm telling you, bro, the way this world is, bro, of course they don't want us to know this knowledge, but you'll be beating yourself up in your life thinking that it's you, thinking it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that it's all you, man. Why I can't do this? And they'll give you this image in your head like it's really your fault, but really it's as simple as understanding energy a lot of times. I say 70 to 80% of the stuff that we got going on in our life is more simple than not. We just don't be knowing it because we ruled by a system that don't want us to really know certain stuff. It makes stuff way too complicated. And I'm gonna just leave that at that. But that's how that plays out. You see what I'm saying? That's pretty much everything. So much love for everybody that stuck around and listened to the video. If you have any questions, hit me up in the chat. Hit me up in the comment section. That is it for today. I didn't want to make it too long, but much love to y'all, man. Sub up, and if y'all need anything, man, let me know, man. Peace. I will be back with y'all